Hey boys and girls, let's learn some more about Amelia Earhart and also practice some reading skills. So for this activity, you're going to need this worksheet, Amelia Earhart. And then to practice some of our reading skills, you're going to need a red crayon, a yellow crayon, and a blue crayon. Pause this video and go make sure you have this worksheet and these 3 crayons. Okay, you're back? All right, so let's learn some more about Amelia Earhart. The directions here say that you're going to read the passage on the left, that's this right here, to practice fluency. Color a book each time you read, then complete the comprehension tasks on the right. I'm going to read this with you one time, and you can read it on your own again, and then a third time, or you can rewind my voice and read it again, and rewind it one more time and read it a third time. That practices your fluency so you sound like you're talking. Try along and read along with me. Amelia Earhart. From a young age, Amelia Earhart loved airplanes. She took flying lessons in California. Amelia became an excellent pilot. In 1926, Amelia was a passenger in a flight across the Atlantic Ocean. 5 years later, in 1932, Amelia flew a plane herself across the Atlantic Ocean. She became the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean by herself. She also broke the record for crossing the Atlantic Ocean in the shortest time. In 1937, Amelia set off to fly around the world. Sadly, Amelia's plane disappeared, and she was not seen again. Even though her plane did not make it, Amelia was a hero to everyone around the world. She was a determined woman who will always be remembered. I read that passage one time, so I'm going to color in this first book. Remember, you can pause this video and read this again to yourself for the second time and the third time, or you can rewind it and read along with me for the second and the third time. Practice reading along with me so you can practice your fluency. Okay, you're back? Let's practice some reading skills. So these directions are going to help me to understand the story. It says read and look back. The first thing we're going to do is use our red crayon to highlight what Amelia accomplished in 1932. Can you find where it talks about what Amelia accomplished in 1932? Pause this video and see if you can find it. Sometimes this can be tricky, but I like when they tell me a year like this because I can find this year in the passage, 1932. Let me see if I can find that over here. Oh, there it is, 1932. Let me read the words around it so I can find out what Amelia accomplished in 1932. Let me go back. There we go. 5 years later, in 1932, Amelia flew a plane herself across the Atlantic Ocean. That's when she flew by herself. 5 years later, in 1932, Amelia flew a plane herself across the Atlantic Ocean. I underlined it. You can color it in. But this shows me what happened, what Amelia accomplished in 1932. Check. All right, let's see what's next. Use a yellow crayon to highlight the text that states a record Amelia broke during her flight across the Atlantic Ocean. Get my yellow crayon. See if you can pause the video and find what record Amelia broke during her flight across the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, you ready? So up here it was easy for me to find that number, that year in the passage. Let me see if I can find some of these keywords. I need to find what record she broke. So let me see if I can find that word record in the story. I know it said something about a record. There's that word, record. Let me look at the words around it. She also broke the record for crossing the Atlantic Ocean in the shortest time. Let's see, it says what states the record Amelia broke during her flight across the Atlantic Ocean. She broke the record for crossing the Atlantic Ocean. That's it. In the shortest amount of time. So I'm going to highlight that. For crossing the Atlantic Ocean in the shortest time. And I underlined it, but you know you can also color it too. She broke the record for crossing the Atlantic in the shortest time. Check. All right, let's do the blue crayon. Use a blue crayon to highlight what happened during Amelia's trip in 1937. Oh, there's a clue right there. Pause the video and see if you can find what happened during Amelia's trip in 1937. All right, let's go. Did you find the year 1937? Oh, there it is. 1937. Amelia set off to fly around the world. That doesn't seem like exciting. Let's keep going. Sadly, Amelia's plane disappeared and she was not seen again. What happened during Amelia's trip in 1937? Well, she went around the world, but she disappeared and was never seen again. That seems like that's important information. And again, I'm underlining it, but you can color it too. So in 1937, she set off to fly around the world. Her plane disappeared and she was not seen again. That's sad. Check. All right, and then the last thing says, write an interesting fact you learned about Amelia Earhart. I know I don't have to help you with that because we learned some pretty exciting things. She flew by herself across the Atlantic Ocean. She broke a record for crossing the Atlantic Ocean in the shortest time. And in 1937, when she went to go fly around the world, her plane disappeared and she wasn't seen again. Those are some pretty interesting facts about Amelia Earhart. So the last thing you're going to do is write an interesting fact you learned about Amelia Earhart. Good job.